I have had a lot of experience in business because when I worked for NADC for 6 years. And so that's Native American Development Corporation. They're based out of Billings, Montana. And they help Native-owned small businesses with anywhere from funding to government contracts. And so I was a government contract specialist, helping businesses all across the state try to find contracts, government contracts and whatnot. And so I had a good idea of what needed to be done to start a business. But as far as like the funding of it and whatnot, I think one of the biggest mistakes a lot of small business owners do when they're startup is take out a bunch of loans and just try to make it work that way. So NADC is a CDFI for financial lending for Native American businesses, but then there's also a local CDFI called People's Partner for Community Development, and that's run by Sharon Small. And she was a huge proponent in helping me get the space and just a kind of a champion locally of saying we need a fresh food location. We need something different. And also food businesses are kind of an anchor business in small commercial malls. You kind of want a business there that has something that draws people, and usually food is the thing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the food industry or what we specifically are in, but it could be a yogurt shop, it could be whatever, and it gets foot traffic through the door. I wrote for the Montana, the Indian Equity Grant through the State Chamber of Commerce. I wrote for that back in 2019. And that was where I kind of just kicked off my idea of like, how do I keep this simple? And I know that I cook. I've come from a long line of really good cooks. And how can we keep this where it's successful? So we wrote for that in 2019. My parents are both business owners in this business. They came around to the idea of opening the business. We scouted the locations. There's this new mall that was built right there on the Highway 212 that cuts across the reservation. And they were looking for small business tenants interested in opening and starting businesses in this mall. And so even the location that I have currently was not intended for food in any way. I have the largest suite in the mall, and we've outgrown it easily. I mean, we could double our size. I've had to get really creative with how we organize and cook in that space. So we wrote for the Business Indian Equity Grant in 2019, this fall. I had broke my right arm in a horse accident, actually, right before that. So I was actually in a cast in my right arm. And so I just remember thinking, this is crazy that I'm trying to write for this business grant, because I had to, come up with a business plan. You had to come up with your projections and your numbers. And this is for a business that's never even been done in the area that we're at. So I just thought, I don't even know if my numbers are correct. And so I was typing and trying to write with my broken cast. And so when I submitted, I just thought, if we get it, we get it. If we don't, I'll just go back to the drawing board. And we found out in December of 2019 that we had been awarded the grant. We were one of 4 recipients on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation. We've been in business 3 years. We are the only recipient of that year's grant that is still in business. So I was able to buy all of my equipment for the shop upright. So there's a lot of organizations out there that can help you with your legal registration, including lawyers. Usually if you pay, $100 for an hour of a lawyer's time, they'll get you set up with everything that you need to do. I'm fortunate in that I came from an organization and was educated in what it took to start a business, registering with the state, finding out what certifications I need to have specific to my community. And I'm still learning. So when we started, there were no requirements for food where I'm at because I am on the reservation. My business is operating on the reservation. and the location where I'm at. Like we have this food safety inspector comes in and eats at our shop, but because we're a tribal, like we're on tribal land, they can't come in and inspect our shop. And so as far as like the food registrations that I needed to have, there were none. I did require all of my staff to go through and do food safety handling with the state. And I'm constantly looking at ways that we can better improve our processes as far as keeping all of our produce fresh, our food fresh. But the certifications that we needed, they didn't exist where we're working. So if you are going to open a business off the reservation, you need to make sure that you're registering with the local government, that you are asking. Usually they have chambers of commerce too, wherever you are, like a chamber of commerce for the city. And they also are a good resource to help you figure out what registrations and certifications you have to open your business. But the process for registering with the state is super easy. You can go online. You make sure you're going to the government website, because there's so many fake websites out there that try to act like they're helping you with the registration, but they're just charging you extra money to do something that would cost you nothing to do yourself. So make sure you're going to the actual government website of wherever it is that you're registering your business. You pay the fee. You have to submit your LLC paperwork. I would definitely suggest incorporating. Do not try to do a sole proprietorship, which is basically your business is on your own social security number. And so when you go to do your taxes, it's all blended in. And it can set you up for legalities, liabilities. If something goes wrong with your business, they can come after all of your personally owned assets. And so when you do a registration for a business, do it as a corporation, or there's S corporations, there's LLCs, there's ways to create your business as its own separate entity with its own assets and liabilities, so that if something were to happen with your business, your own personal assets aren't being attacked or being put under scrutiny for those liabilities with your business.